Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffery Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein. Sure.
Good morning, Owasso. This is Chad with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. Well, as you can see from that video there is no Epstein client list. They just had a little mistake in changing some of the in how they spoke or clarified the information. So I don't know. It's really weird. I've said a lot of people are upset by this. I mean, I'm definitely one of them, but I'm kind of more in the boat of, I think that some of this information that they have on people is so spicy, so hot, that it's too juicy to give up. It's like, once you have that leverage on somebody, it's like, if you turn this over to the public, you no longer have that leverage anymore. And you're going to completely change relationships and dynamics between countries, nations, businesses, whoever that's on this list. You're going to completely change how the world's going to be. And, you know, this is the thing, is like, once you get in there and you see, you know, all the information that there is, you know, you get all the knowledge of the world. Do you really want to give that up to everybody? So it's like, once you become the deep state, do you really want to turn over being the deep state, basically? Said questions that we don't have answered. And two, like, this comes up to the other point of this too, is like, if you didn't know, if it was one of these people on the list who didn't know that they were doing this with a minor, you think that they would have the courage to come forward, like, yeah, I had no clue that she was underage, I'm on that list or whatever, and like, just be very apologetic about it. Whereas, you know, like, if you continuously go back, like how that prince, whatever the prince's name is that was supposedly on the list and has pictures on the island, you know, just like, clearly he knew what he was doing. He was going back for seconds, thirds, and fourths. So, you know, that's just what this comes into, in my personal opinion. But we'll have some articles here pulled up. We'll just get into this, and then we've also got the footage that she was just talking about. But we'll go ahead and start with this CNN article. Pam Bondi's botched handling of the Epstein files. CNN, the Trump administration promised to release extensive and significant new information related to the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein appeared to be petering out, depriving conspiracy-minded MAGA supporters of their smoking gun that they have long sought as the publicly tried to tie influential figures to Epstein's crimes. And to the extent of those MAGA supporters are disappointed, the Trump administration has itself to blame. Especially applies to Attorney General Pam Bondi. The Justice Department posted a memo Monday that says there is no evidence and Epstein was murdered, or that he was kept anything amounting to the much-anticipated client list. The department does not plan to release any new documents on the matter, an official told CNN. Axios was the first to report the details on the DOJ and FBI's decision. None of this new or surprised anyone who was following the Epstein case closely. New York City's medical examiner had both ruled the death a suicide. The Attorney General in Trump's first term, Bill Barr, had come to the same conclusion despite the initial suspicions of something more sinister. And the Justice Department Inspector General reported that also pushed back on the idea that the death was anything but a suicide, while criticizing the staff failures that allowed such a thing to happen. I don't know why they keep saying that this is like a MAGA supporter thing. There are several left-wing people that I know that are convinced that the Jeffrey Epstein thing is a cover-up as well. I don't know why they always have to go to attack Trump supporters and more conservative-leaning folks. Because I know plenty of left-wing people who are like, yeah, that dude was definitely covered up. The CIA's involved. You know, all these conspiracy theories that supposedly just the MAGA people that they're saying hold is like, I know plenty of left-wing people who believe this too. It's like, I don't know why they always have that CNN. They always have to attack Trump and his base every single time. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. The Miami Herald, Julie K. Brown, one of the best sourced reporters on the Epstein case, reported earlier this year, those who have worked with the FBI on the case for decades say there is no evidence, kept a ledger or a list of clients who were involved in his sex trafficking operations. Still, this undercuts theories that continue to circulate, including that there were several proof that influential figures who were involved in Epstein's exploitation of underage girls. At their most pitched, these theories held that Epstein was able to blackmail influential figures who appeared on purported client list. They also undercut Bondi's personal rhetoric. The new memo's key findings are very different from how Bondi billed them. Far-right activist Laura Loomer, who has demonstrated influence with the Trump administration, has frequently criticized Bondi over her handling of the Epstein investigation, called for Trump to fire his attorney general. If she does not get fired over this memo, people are going to be blackpilled, Loomer wrote on X, using a term that some on the far right have significantly a belief that the system is beyond repair. Let's run through the statements of what Pam Bondi's memo contradicts. Yeah, Laura Loomer's kind of fallen off the deep end. The client list. The idea that Epstein kept a client list that potentially implicates influential figures has become an article of faith in some circles. Key Republican lawmakers have treated this extent as the established fact of pushed for its release, and the big reason for that was Bondi herself. During the February 21st Fox News interview, as host John Roberts asked whether the DOJ would release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen, Roberts asked. Bondi responded, it's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I mean, but we also have to remember is like what she just said right there. I have the file on my desk, not necessarily a client list, which, you know, it's easy to misspeak in that situation. Like you should, yeah, I have his file on my desk. She didn't say anything about a client list in there. The guy, you know, just she should have spoke or clarified more is what really should have happened. And it's the same thing that happened with the John F. Kennedy file. There's been nothing in that report that shows anything. No smoking gun that's like, yes, the CIA did assassinate John F. Kennedy. It's like, there's been no smoking gun like that, even with those files. Like, these files aren't going to be like, here's the one piece of evidence that completely shows that, you know, everything that we've been hoping for. That's not how, you know, that's not how documenting information works. Nothing's ever going to be so clear cut. Here is that little piece of evidence that we finally needed to see the truth. And two, like, if it's really that covert, they're not going to say anything about it. The paper's going to be shredded. You know, it's Mission Impossible logic. This video or this message will self-destruct after you read, or you have 30 seconds to get rid of this because it's going to self-destruct. Like, yeah, it's like that type of black ops type thing is not going to be shown to anybody. And it's not going to be documented in any FBI files or anything like that unless it's all blacked out. All right. In other words, Bondi did not commit to releasing the list, but affirmed it indicated its existence and it was in her possession. And the question specifically about purported list, not or other files related to Epstein. At the Monday's White House briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt claimed her skeptical questioning from Fox News itself that Bondi hadn't actually been referring to a client list. She was saying that the entirety of the paperwork, all of the paperwork in relation to Jeffrey Epstein's crimes, Leavitt said, and that's what the Attorney General was referring to, and also let her speak for that. Bondi, on the other hand, on the other chance to downplay the existence of such a list during the later March 1st interview on Fox, but declined to do so. Host Mark Levine suggested that the Democratic-leaning officials in New York City might be withholding information because they don't like the names on the list, and that they were trying to protect a lot of those names and individuals. Bondi leaned into the theory, saying, not reviewing the information yet, but added, I think it's very interesting that they withheld that from us. The Department of Justice now says not only is there no evidence of the blackmail, but there is no evidence of such a list. The systematic review revealed no incriminating client list, the DOJ memo says. There was also no credible evidence that found Epstein's blackmail prominent individuals as part of his actions. Elon Musk, who formerly served in Trump's administration and previously alleged on social media the real reason officials have not made more Epstein files public is because Trump's name is on them, has appeared to take shots at Bondi on social media. What's the time? Oh, look, no one has been arrested o'clock again, Musk posted around on X at 4 a.m. Eastern time on Monday. Yeah. So Elon Musk has gone back and kind of retracted some of those statements, apologizing to Trump. So we don't know exactly what he's apologizing for. Maybe he wasn't apologizing for that, but he said that he had apologized for making some of those statements against Donald Trump. So that's another thing that they're happening to leave out of this article right now. Video of Epstein. Another puzzling claim. Bondi said that there were tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children, or CP, child pornography. Bondi's first made her assertion on a secretly recorded video that she was repeated the claim publicly, possible in an effort to get ahead of the video's release. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children, and there are hundreds of victims, Bondi said publicly on May 7th. But just a month later, FBI Director Kash Patel appeared on, to walk back Bondi's claims. He indicated a podcast on Joe Rogan that there was no video of people committing crimes on Epstein's islands. Is there video from that island, Rogan asked. Not what you want, Patel said. So the narrative might not be accurate that there's a video of this guy doing these things, Joe Rogan asked. Exactly, Patel confirmed. Patel added another point. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it? Bondi's allegation puzzled lawyers and law enforcement officials involved in Epstein's crimes cases who were unfamiliar with such troves of videos, an AP investigator reported last week. And now the new DOJ memo further uppercut Bondi's claims. The memo cites over 10,000 downloaded videos and images of illegal child abuse material, and that both videos and images and only make reference to images of Epstein, not videos, let alone tens of thousands of them. What Bondi undersold. While the DOJ memo is above instances of suggest Bondi oversold the evidence, it suggests that she publicly undersold findings in other areas. The number of victims, Bondi on the multiple occasions indicates that there are around 250 victims. This will make you sick, she told Fox News late February. 200 victims, 200. So we have well over 250, actually. In the Levine interview on March 1st, she cited that 254 young girls, women who are victims of these crimes and sex trafficking. 2 days later, she doubled down on that number in a Fox interview with Sean Hannity. But the DOJ memo cites many more victims, as it review confirms that Epstein harmed over 100,000 victims, each suffering unique trauma. So, that's a lot to go through right there. And this is the original Axios one. Had no idea about the suicide. Yeah. So, we're not going to go over all of this, but this appears to be the memo right here. It's a lot of stuff. But I've got a bunch of the videos here, even from Patel being on Rogan and a bunch of this other stuff. So let me go ahead and pull those up real quick, and we'll get started with some of the more hearing it from the own people's mouths. So let's start here on Kash Patel on Joe Rogan.
Director of the FBI have a responsibility. I'm not just going to bring a case because somebody hurt me. They did. And they continue to do it. Shit, my house just got swatted yesterday.
What?
Yeah. But.
You got swatted?
Oh, yeah.
The head of the FBI gets swatted?
Yeah. Yeah. These people play, it's the ultimate height of hypocrisy. They have two sets of rules. One against you and one for them. And as director of the FBI,
yeah, I just thought that was interesting. He told Joe Rogan that he gets swatted like regularly. So who on earth is swatting the FBI director? That's crazy.
on people's mind. Epstein, right? My mission has always been to put out the truth, whatever the consequences are. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself.
What did you think before you got in office? Did you think that Epstein was murdered?
Clients, I told him how to work. He was in isolation. He was in a unit where you're not supposed to have 6 feet of cloth so you can hang yourself. This doesn't look right. It doesn't look like a suicide. But is this Justice Department? No.
No suspicion at all of it?
No. I was like, yeah, that guy killed himself.
Since we were talking about fake news, Joe, you want to check the tweet that Elon just put out?
Time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day. Jesus Christ.
My mission has always been to put out the truth, whatever the consequence.
Yeah. Interesting. If his objective is to put out the truth, if we want, they don't want to show these videos now. They don't want to put these, put out all the information. Like, it's just what is going on in there. I said that's why I think it's honestly this information is so spicy and implicates so many people that they're just keeping it under wraps now. Scary stuff. Scary stuff. But we'll check out this one right here too. This will be a good one. Let me refresh it real quick. Make sure it started over. There we go.
There's been a huge public reaction to Kash Patel on Joe Rogan because most people simply aren't buying what he's selling. James O'Keefe tweeted this, noticing the difference between what Pam Bondi and Kash Patel said about whether there is or isn't video footage. Someone also made this compilation clip.
Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going.
Now, I'm not asking them to show the public these horrific things, of course, but probably should get the story straight before two people say diametrically opposed things. Speaking of which, in the interview, he didn't seem to know much about how, before he was the FBI director, it seemed like everybody was telling us that the cameras didn't work.
But what I was told, what I'd read, was that the guards were not paying attention or were sleeping.
Well,
right?
Yeah, and in short order, you'll see it.
Is that correct?
Well, it's hard to surmise that from a video, right? Like,
right.
Where they and look, do guards doze off on the night shift? Yeah. But no one can get in to the cell. And if they had gotten in to the cell, you would see it.
But we were told that the cameras were down.
Well, I don't know who said that.
But that was in the news.
We're giving you all the footage we have.
And he says that they have camera footage that Dan Bongino said on television doesn't seem to be that good.
Clearly indicates that it was, in fact, a suicide. We do have video. It's not the greatest video in the world. I don't want to set expectations on fire.
Let me know what you think in the comments, and I'm going to play a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast. And to tell you my perspective, between his attitude and what he's saying, I'm certainly not buying it, but to each their own.
I've said it. Dan Bongino said it. We've reviewed all the information, and the American public is going to get as much as we can release. He killed himself. Do you think, let's play out the logical conclusion of this. Do you think that myself, Bongino, and others would participate in hiding information about Epstein's grotesque activities? Or do you think We would also participate in not prosecuting people we had evidence to prosecute people on. But the problem is there's been like 15 years of people coming in and creating fictions about this that doesn't exist. Where's the videotape of an Epstein Island of X, Y, and Z committing these frauds? Why haven't you given it to us? Do you really think I wouldn't give that to you if it existed? I'm working my ass off along with the leadership at the Bureau and DOJ to get you what we're allowed to give you. And you're going to get the video.
There's been a huge public reaction.
To get you what we're allowed to get you. That's kind of the key takeaway that I have from that, meaning that there's stuff that we're not allowed to see. Now, I get the fact that, you don't want to show underage abuse videos and stuff like that. They don't want to put those or document those out there. But at the same time, you're just like, come on, give us something. Give us something. And speaking of the video, I actually have the jail footage video right here. And we'll go ahead and just play this real quick, and we'll watch this. I don't think there's any sound or anything with this, but there's a minute gap. This is what everyone is freaking out about right now, is that minute gap that even Pam Bondi mentioned in her video. Like they say, they reset the cameras at that point, but that's pretty darn convenient that they have a minute-long, hold off for that type of stuff. That's pretty crazy. Epstein is locked in a cell. Anyone appears to enter and attempting to tear with Epstein cell. Yeah. We'll kind of fast forward it through here, get to the reset point. Then right here, 11:59, the footage cuts for 1 minute, resuming at midnight. Boom. Now, I'm a firm believer. I know that government is very slow at doing things, and resetting and putting up new cameras and whatnot is definitely on the bottom tier of things that they're worried about. But at the same time, awfully convenient that this thing leaves out a whole minute worth of footage right at midnight. And then the sheer fact that, I remember that being reported back in the day that there was no camera. The cameras were actually offline during that, and that the guards were asleep and all that crap. Just okay, very convenient. And then all of a sudden now we have footage. So what is going on? So it's just it's better just to tell the truth and to get all this stuff out than it is just to hide information like this from the public. It's so stupid. So stupid that they thought that they could just, hide this information from everybody. But we'll get back over here to watching some more of these things. Here's Megyn Kelly's take on it. And she has a pretty good compilation of videos of Pam Bondi and Kash Patel.
Joe Rogan in June. It was June 6th. And he definitely sounded to me like he knew more than he was revealing. And I thought, okay, it's harder when you're actually in charge and you're responsible for maintaining classified briefings and so on. But here he is in SOT 13 in June.
But what about the video from the island?
Again, we're going to give you everything we can. And people have to remember, we're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening, because then he wins. Not doing it. You want to hate me for it? Fine. Again, logical play out. If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies on an island and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it, period.
Right.
If I have it.
So
where else would it be?
Right. If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
No, we're giving you everything we have.
So far.
Everything we have so far is.
Have you guys gone over all the video that's available?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. That's what takes so much damn time.
Right.
And
is there video from the island?
Not of what you want, the people out there have filled the void with can't wait to see X, Y, or Z.
Right, speculation. Now, I understand that you would never re-victimize these women and show this footage, but is there footage?
Outside of the only thing I can say right now is if there was footage of anyone doing anything else, we would have opened a case.
So he just doesn't sound like himself. You can hear him being careful. He's not, like, a lot of those are not fully direct answers. He's not volunteering information. And you can see Joe Rogan really trying to kind of pulling teeth, trying to get full answers. So it's clear to me, it's just different when you're in charge. Kash was on Joe Rogan in.
Yep. 100% agree with that. 100% agree with that. Now that he's the person in power, it's do you really want to turn over all this leverage? That's what I keep saying. Is once you have that leverage and you're in control of it, do you really want to give it up? That's the issue we're having here. And maybe it's out of his hands. We don't know. We don't know. And two, it's the FBI was also deliberately, if you remember that from earlier in their, when they first got assigned those positions, they weren't turning over information. The FBI literally had people who were hiding and, withholding information from them, not sending them all the documentation that they had on this. So, other questions that haven't been answered yet, that we need answers to, that we want answers to. And it's I keep saying, it's once you get that information, once you've opened that Pandora's box, can't shut it. And do you really want to give all that information out to everybody else? It's highly unlikely not, because then that information can't be used. It can't be leveraged against the people that you need it for.
OJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, we'll check back with you.
Mm-hmm.
All the Epstein files are missing. Can you confirm the status of them? We still haven't heard from you.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And
we've already seen
no
all
one
this,
victim
yeah,
will ever get released.
It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing that we're having problems with. And then the Babylon Bee crushing it as normal. There is no Epstein client list, says Epstein's client list. And, of course, it's all the members of Congress. I love it. I friggin' love it. Then, of course, SKS Cartoons, nailed it, and what I've been saying all along. Finally, the truth, Epstein files. And everyone's excited watching them go in there. A few minutes later, they come out, and their brains look like they've been melted or hypnotized or whatever. It's there is no client list. He killed himself. What the F is in there? And that's true. It's that's the question now. Is this stuff so crazy or so bad that, they're just we're not giving up this information to the public. We can't. It would destroy, it would unravel society or whatever the heck is going on. We don't know. We don't know because they won't tell us. And then another one from the Babylon Bee. Bondi explained she was going to release the Epstein files, but then some pedophiles asked her not to. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. But that is really about all I've got for today. This is Chad with Owasso Live. This was The Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But, that's really all I've got for today. Hopefully we get some more information on this in the future, but there's no telling. That's what I keep saying is do you really want to give up all that leverage that you have over people when it comes to, this information? It's super deep. Everyone, I see the big meme that I keep seeing going around is if there's no client list, why is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? Well, she's in prison. I checked. Her charges are for, human trafficking or sex trafficking of underage girls. But that's things is she accused of sending them to Epstein? is probably the case, but everyone else is like, but who was Epstein trafficking them to, you know? And that's the thing, is like, there are people who came to that island that people want to know about, and that people that we do know that were there. So maybe we'll get more information. It'll be released. We can only hope, but, you know, it's like I said, I think that this information is just so juicy and so hot that once you're in that position, you're just like, wow, no, we can't give up. This is too rich for us not to just hand out and give away now, to just let everyone know we need this information. That's what I think really happens, is like, once you're in that position, you're like, wow, we can't give out. We have this person over a barrel right now. That's what I think is going on. But that's all I've got for today, so I'll catch you on the next one. God bless you, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Videos remain secret.
Wait, what are you talking about? I thought we could all sleep well at night now knowing that Epstein legitimately killed himself, right?
What was that?
Did that just come out?
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide.
You know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself.
You weren't convinced by that?
No.
Why?
I've dug into that, and it's just so spooky. I mean, how do you charge a guy with sex trafficking when there's no end users that have been charged? Who did he traffic to?
What do you think that was?
What do I think it was?
Yeah.
I think it was a blackmail operation. What do you think it was?
I think it was a blackmail operation run by the CIA and the Israeli intel services, and probably others. You know, French intelligence always has a hand in everything, I've noticed. Probably them too. The usual darkest forces in the world colluding to make rich and powerful people obey their agenda, no matter who